GLC is now offering a free audio stream of our 24/7 broadcast that we're calling GLC Radio, an online radio station that broadcasts our round-the-clock audio stream on a variety of platforms. GLC Radio gives you the ability to listen to GLC virtually anywhere, through your home or office computer, or on the go with a mobile device. You can access GLC Radio through our website or by searching for God's Learning Channel through iTunes Internet Radio, TuneInRadio.com, or on Shoutcast.com. Explore various GLC Radio-enabled mobile apps by visiting our website at glc.us.com/listen/GLC Radio. GLC Radio, your free connection to GLC anywhere, anytime.
Well, welcome to the Monday update with this cluttered set with flowers and cakes and what's going on here?
Mom has a birthday.
Tomorrow,
but you know what?
29?
On God's timetable, every day begins in the evening.
at sundown. That's
so when
right.
the sun sets tonight, Mom's birthday begins. That's how we look at it.
All right.
And you know what? She actually has a special audience with God, according to the Jewish sages. Every one of us does when it's our birthday. For a
Hallelujah.
24-hour period, you can bring any supplication you want before the Lord, and He is more apt to hear you on that day.
He's
So
in the
anyway,
field.
happy birthday, Mother.
Yes,
Thank
happy
you.
birthday.
Thank you for the beautiful flowers and the butterfly. I wish you could really see the butterfly, but
Well, they could see it
Kinda
better
hard.
from the long shot.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, what we're more interested in is
It's the
your
cake.
Is your cake. It's
I
carrot
wish
cake.
you were here to have a piece of the cake.
Amen.
We do.
It's carrot.
But officially, her birthday isn't till the 29th.
Right.
So that's tomorrow. But you know what? We're not going to be here tomorrow.
And thank you for the birthday cards that I've gotten. I've already gotten some.
You have
birthday
lots of
cards.
people who remember when your birthday is.
I forgot it.
You did not. You've been telling me for 2 days. Let's do Mom's birthday dinner. Like,
Yep.
it's not her birthday. Okay.
That means we don't eat till tomorrow night.
So I'm really excited. That's right, Dad.
You've got cake.
Okay, so I'm excited. 1 week from tonight, we will be live with our roundup.
Amen.
So in the house next Monday night with us will be Jean-Claude Chauvin with his little French boots, Pastor Umberto Porras, Mario Sandoval, Steve Shermet. Those are the 4 that will be with us on opening night.
Oh my.
And
What a
I
night.
believe we'll be having a band from Pastor Porras'
I think so.
church here. He has like 3 different bands
Mm-hmm.
there. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a lot going on for
Great.
2 weeks, every night live, well, Monday through Thursday. Which it'll seem like every night to us, and we'll be tired. The adrenaline keeps you going during Roundup, but when it's done, you're just like, I need a nap. So, okay, do you have a letter, Mr. Cooper?
I do have a letter. It says, encloses our monthly donation towards needs of GLC. Thank you so much for the great update news. I depend on you guys, and I love Tommy's devotional. That comes from Barbie in Midland. Thank you.
That's because
Thank you,
Mommy
Barbie.
does a good job on her devotionals.
I love the devotionals.
That's her favorite part of the news.
It really is.
Now, before
I'd
you
do
get
the
your
whole program with devotionals if I could, huh?
Before we do your devotional, I want to show the people one thing, if you could put that up, Ryan. Many people are confused how you get to watch GLC. And this is what this map goes by, because we go by what the FCC says, and that's what Nielsen goes by. And when we asked you a couple of years ago, if you get contacted by Nielsen or any of those people, call out your call letters. For instance, in New Mexico, where KRPV is the main station, Nielsen said we had a 77% increase in our viewership.
After people wrote in
Yeah,
to their cable companies. That happened 2 years ago.
yeah. And
You know, the whole world goes by Nielsen ratings. We don't, because it would mean we have to pay them $18,000 a month
per station.
per station. That's 18 times 5, close to $100,000 every month. So
Well,
we're not going to be
We
doing
don't
that.
need it because we don't sell commercials.
Another one that I want to tell you about, especially the people over in the Abilene area, KPCB, you grew by
Well, you said it-
quadrupled.
You said it quadrupled.
It quadrupled. Nielsen ratings. So thank you very much.
Okay, so here's what's really important when you're writing to your cable companies to tell them how much you love GLC. It's very important that you use the station call letters that apply to your market area. That was the map that Dad just showed you. And I'll run through it real fast if that'll help you. And it's also GLC. GLC / whatever your call letters are. So if you're in New Mexico, you are KRPV. If you are up in the Amarillo area and all the way down to Lubbock, you are KPTF. That F stands for Farwell. If you are in the Lubbock area, you are KPTB. If you're in Snyder, you are KPCB. And if you're here in the Odessa Midland area, that is KMLM. Now, here's another thing that's really, really important. Any program that you're watching on GLC, when you happen to write to them, say you write to Zola Levitt, or you write to Day of Discovery, and it's especially important if you're sending contributions to them or you're purchasing a product. It's very important that you always put GLC on there, and if you can remember, also your station call letters.
Right.
Now, if you're watching GLC by live stream on the internet, that's what you would put. GLC via live stream. If you're watching GLC on the Galaxy 19, you would put GLC, Galaxy 19. Some of you refer to it as the Glory Star. They'll know what you're talking about. But it's very important to them that they know how you're watching, because that's how they determine if they're going to buy airtime or not.
That's right.
And,
Not necessarily from us. You know, we carry almost every single program. We don't sell them airtime,
That's right.
but they're paying for airtime. Dr. Charles Stanley is a really good example because he's on a lot of different stations, but I guarantee you the majority of his people are watching on GLC because we cover such a vast territory.
In the
When you
Bible
figure
Belt,
in the
yeah.
when you figure in the satellite and people watching by internet, but they have no way of knowing that.
That's
And
right.
if you're in Dish or DirecTV subscriber, the same call letters apply.
That's right. They sure do. And when you're telling that's why you need to be familiar with the call letters that apply to your area, because if you're referring a friend, a neighbor to GLC and you're telling them, "Hey, look it up. If you're watching on DishNet or DirecTV or Cable One, whatever, this is how you're going to find it. It's going to be those station call letters. Very few of them list us as GLC. They want the call letters.
That's right.
So it's very helpful if you're going to be propagating the good news of GLC to know what your call letters are.
And since AT&T bought out DirecTV, it's going to be even more critical because that's going to...
It's going to change a lot of things, but
Yeah.
at any rate. Okay, so
Okay.
can Mom do her devotion now?
Yeah, you can do your devotion.
Well, rejoice. The celebration awaits us. Zechariah 14:16 through 17 says, "And it shall come to pass that every one that is left of all the nations which come against Jerusalem shall go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. And it shall be that whichever of the families of earth do not go up to Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, there will be no rain on them." The God-ordained Feast of Tabernacles is a prophetic feast, and one which will be kept by all the people of the world in the coming age. In resurrected bodies, we will be celebrating this feast, year to year in Jerusalem during the millennial reign of Yeshua Jesus. Can you imagine it? Celebrating with the King of Kings? If that's not something to anticipate, I'm not sure what is.
Amen.
Right now, there's quite a bit of turmoil in the world, which is producing a level of uncertainty and anxiety that I've not witnessed as a believer. Yet despite all these scary situations, we have something wonderful to look forward to. And if you're like me, you can't wait. Don't let the times we're living in control your life. Instead, Use these turbulent times as an opportunity to display the goodness and grace of God in your life. As Yeshua Jesus said, when you see these things begin to take place, lift your heads high, because your redemption draws near.
You know,
Amen.
I heard somebody say the other day that all of the signs that are filling everything, all prophecy's not yet been fulfilled.
That's right.
So we've got a ways to go. But people will project the end is near. No.
It's been near for 2,000 years.
The kingdom is at hand.
Yes.
That's what we have to remember.
The kingdom is among you.
For every single prophecy that gets fulfilled, we are one step closer to seeing our King rule and reign with justice and mercy and complete peace.
Amen.
So hallelujah on that. Okay, Mother pulled an article that I'm going to share with you from the ICEJ. It's about the feast that's going on in Israel right now, and we're not there.
That's right.
Okay, well, it didn't make sense. Earlier today, they had visited the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in the Old City of Jerusalem, the very first day of their very first trip to Israel. It was so quiet there, but this was so loud. It was dark there and filled with tension. But out in the desert, everything was filled with color and light. It's not often you get to see the ICEJ's Feast of Tabernacles celebration through the eyes of people with no framework for understanding evangelical Christianity. Some 4,500 pilgrims from more than half the nations on earth thronged before them, singing, dancing, and worshiping Jesus. There were no ethnic or cultural barriers, no inhibitions, yet their questions were intriguing. Who brings all this together? If you've never stood on the shores of the Dead Sea on the first night of Sukkot, it's hard to comprehend what you are witnessing. The most diverse annual assembly of Christians anywhere in the world. How do you keep everyone on the same page, they ask. We don't, came the simple yet honest response. We simply invite them to come, and each year for 36 years, they've come. Suddenly the music swells again as the worship team led the gathering in a new version of a very ancient creed. We believe in the crucifixion. We believe that he conquered death. We believe in the resurrection, and he's coming back again. What holds all these people together? Our guest asked again. And as they did, the question was being answered before our eyes. We believe. Many tribes, many tongues, many nations. One Lord, one God, one Bible, one creed. And a shared love for Israel and the Jewish people. This is how the 36th Christian celebration of the Feast of Tabernacles began, with one simple declaration that in Jesus we can all become one. In his presence, all barriers of ethnicity completely fade away. As the evening ended and the crowd streamed to the buses that would take them on the steep mountainous climb back to Jerusalem, the worship team kept singing, "Make me a house of prayer." These words, the same words that Jesus cried out upon his final triumphant entry into Jerusalem, "For my house will be called a house of prayer for all nations," Isaiah 56:7. Tonight in Ein Gedi, thousands glimpsed just that, the gathering of the nations together in Christ, with one purpose and in one accord. Some just stood there from the outside looking in, but no one left untouched by the sight. And even the most ardent skeptic was struck by simple declarations that bring us all together. We believe.
Amen.
That's something
That
to
would
be
be a
there.
Wouldn't it
great
be
thing to
wonderful?
be at.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We know
Yes.
lots of people that are over in Israel celebrating Sukkot.
Yes, we do. And for all all of you people who have been on tours with us and have actually been to the Feast of Tabernacles with us, I know that made you so homesick if you're not there right now.
Well, the last time we were in Israel was for the Feast of Sukkot,
Yep.
3 years ago. Hard to believe it's gone by that
It
fast.
is. It is.
Okay, well, we've got some news coming. Well, this is about Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. Egypt's President el-Sisi said in an interview that the Mideast region needs to cooperate to defeat a worsening terrorist threat that has led to a ferocious war in Egypt and created the danger of some countries sliding into failure. In a wide-ranging interview with the Associated Press Saturday night, El-Sisi also said that Syria should not be divided after its civil war, that the Egyptian military needs to be augmented to defeat terrorist fighting in the Sinai and Western Desert, and that efforts should be renewed to solve the Palestinian issue and expand Egypt's nearly 40-year peace with Israel to include more Arab countries.
Resolving the Palestinian question, he said, could change the face of the region and bring about enormous improvement to the situation. I'm optimistic by nature, and I say that there is great opportunity. The 60-year-old former military chief who ran for president and assumed office in 2014 after the army ousted his predecessor, Mohamed Morsi, the year before, spoke with an AP at the New York hotel on Saturday night after he addressed a UN summit that adopted new development goals for the next 15 years.
El-Sisi said, "There is an increase in the extremist groups. There is the problem of the refugees that are flowing into Europe. With all that in mind, we can sense how difficult and how complicated the challenge is. I don't want to say we're late in doing what we should have done, but defeating the threat will require a lot of effort. And not only a lot of effort, but as a matter of fact, it entails a good amount of understanding and cooperation from every country to restore the countries that are now sliding into this vicious cycle of failure."
In that vein, the Egyptian leader cited what he called an improving relationship with the United States. The last 2 years were a real test of the endurance and strength of the ties with the U.S., El-Sisi said. It has been a tumultuous period in Egypt. Longtime leader Hosni Mubarak was ousted in 2011 in the Arab Spring revolt that eventually led to the installation of the Muslim Brotherhood's Morsi as Egypt's first popularly elected president. He then was turned out by the military amid another popular uprising.
Well, since then, Egypt has been fighting an insurgency by militants based in the Sinai who have pledged allegiance to the Islamic State. And militants have carried out bombings and shootings against policemen and troops in Cairo and other cities. Security forces have cracked down hard on Egypt's Muslim Brotherhood and other Islamists. Hundreds of Islamists have been killed and thousands arrested. And Morsi and other Brotherhood leaders have had death sentences issued against them in multiple trials. The trials and the crackdown have brought heavy criticism from human rights groups. El-Sisi's government contends the Brotherhood is complicit in violence, a claim the group denies, saying authorities want to crush them as a political opposition.
The problem with the Muslim Brotherhood, El-Sisi said, is not a problem between the government of Egypt and these people. The real problem is between the Egyptian people and the Muslim Brotherhood. He said the Brotherhood has given a very bad impression, and Egyptians are not able to forgive and forget. The Egyptian military, he said, has always been a factor for stability and should be strengthened because it faces a ferocious war against terrorism and extremism. Increasing the military capability of the Egyptian military means that it can strike a strategic balance for the region.
Referring to the civil war that has shattered Syria, El-Sisi said, "We are very keen that Syria remains as a nation and as a state and does not divide into smaller states." He warned that the collapse of Syria would mean that all its weapons and equipment would fall into the hands of the terrorists. If that happens, he says, the danger will not only hurt Syria, but spill over to its neighbors and will pose a serious threat to the rest of the region, and this is what we fear. When asked how extremists could be neutralized, he said, "This is exactly the dilemma that we're talking about."
My. He talks about nations, the Muslim states, the Arab states being doomed to failure. They're doomed to extinction. I mean, they're being wiped out by the ISIS and
The Islamic State is wiping out anyone who is not Islamic State.
That's
if you're
right.
in their path, it doesn't matter.
Even
if
other
you are
Muslims.
not a radical jihadist who believes the way that they believe.
That's right.
Can I touch
finished.
one good news item?
I would love for you to touch a good news item.
Did you get the newsletter?
That's a good news item.
And and I want to congratulate you on putting together a schedule in that thing that even I can read without a magnifying glass.
Well, I hope people really like that. I just wanted to provide the information where people can look for either the name of a program or the host of a program.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so tiny anyway that there was no way that I could do that. So I did make a couple of errors on there, like Lars Innerson's program, and I hope you saw it. I hope you're seeing all these new programs.
They're wonderful.
They are. His program is not called Cry for Zion. That's the name of his ministry, and I knew better. On the website, I believe it's correct, but not on there. And you know what? If you ever have a question about any show that you want to see, all you have to do is go to the website, go to the schedule, and put in the search engine any name you want to, like Innerson or Israel Inspired, whatever. And it will highlight every single one of those in the schedule for you, which makes it very, very easy. Mm-hmm.
Even like was it Ari? Yeah.
Yes, Ari, Jeremy. That's right. It will highlight them because that is their names. So
That's right.
Okay.
Well, even though it is now Sukkot, it began sundown Sunday.
with a blood moon
Yes.
to kick it off.
Awesome moons, and there have been awesome pictures posted on the internet. Hope you got to see it.
Our moon was only regular size, though. Mom and I sat out there and watched it, and it was just regular size. And then she was showing me pictures from Facebook.
Las Cruces. Uh-huh.
Over in Las Cruces, in the Mesilla Valley, between the mountains, and it's huge. It's like, hey, they had a bigger moon than we had. Anyway, what was your point? Here we are in Sukkot.
Yeah. And the Muslims are not giving up on rioting, so
That's the
we
next
have an article about that from INN.
Oh, no. They have been rioting
I know.
since the feast began with Rosh Hashanah, because it's Rosh Hashanah. A few days later, you got Yom Kippur, and then a few days later, we go into the 8-day celebration of
I don't
Sukkot.
think they started just then. They started way back there.
Well, they really started kicking it off in this article. It says
400 years ago.
before that. So anyway, this comes from Israel National News. Following the ongoing riots by Arabs on the Temple Mount, the Israeli police announced Sunday afternoon that it would impose tighter restrictions on Muslim entry into the compound, effective immediately. According to the new instructions, only Muslim men over the age of 50 will be allowed to enter the Temple Mount area. Muslim women of any age will be permitted into the compound as normal. The police are investing extraordinary efforts in order to allow worshippers to exercise their faith, a statement read.
On Sunday morning, dozens of Muslim rioters attacked the Israel police on the Temple Mount, just ahead of the Jewish holiday of Sukkot, which began at sundown. A police statement said young Palestinian Arabs threw rocks and fireworks at police and border police forces, who responded with riot dispersal means. No injuries were reported. The perpetrators were apparently part of the Murabatun and Murabatat, Muslim men and women who regularly harass and occasionally assault Jews who visit. Both groups were recently banned from the Temple Mount for their history of provocative behavior, including violence and incitement.
Violence has been going on at the Temple Mount complex since before Rosh Hashanah, when masked Muslim rioters hurled rocks and fireworks at police on the Temple Mount, as well as firebombs near two entrances to the site. Riots have continued on and off for over a week. Because the Temple Mount had been closed to Jewish visitors entirely in anticipation of more unrest, Sunday's rioting was apparently meant to mark the upcoming Jewish holiday, not to attack Jewish visitors themselves.
Following the riots, the police criticized Arab Knesset members who were present at the Temple Mount Sunday morning, saying they exacerbated the rioting. MK Hanin Zoabi of the Arab Joint List told everyone that closing the mount to Muslims was a dangerous action and perhaps unprecedented, and a declaration of war on Muslims. Nothing could be further from the truth, police said. The mount was open to all Muslims, meaning that the charge she made that set off a panic was a false one, designed to do nothing but aggravate the feelings of people and cause riots that led to the attacks on security officials and innocent civilians.
Jerusalem police will continue to keep extra forces in Jerusalem, and especially eastern Jerusalem and the areas around the Old City and the paths to the Kotel, the Western Wall, to ensure the safety of the many Jews who will be visiting the area on the Sukkot holiday will be assured, police said in their statement. Police and security forces will continue to act against rioters, arrest them, and bring them to justice.
Very good. This is also an article from INN. A primary school in central France was caught forcing Jewish and Muslim students who do not eat pork, as well as vegetarians, to wear red and yellow discs around their necks. The school in Burgundy forced 18 students to wear the disc in order to ensure that cafeteria workers did not give them pork or meat. The practice was withdrawn after outraged parents and local officials compared the practice to wearing yellow stars as mandated by the Nazis, the Telegraph reports. The director of communications in the mayor's office confirmed that the mayor immediately ordered the practice to be halted after one day. When we learned about it, we fell out of our chairs, he said.
France has a long history of forcing Muslims and Jews to wear very distinct garb. Along with the yellow star, the discs are perhaps more reminiscent of the Jew hats in Italy and France during the 11th and 12th centuries. The pointed caps were mandated by the Fourth Council of the Lateran of 1215 under Pope Innocent III.
Pork in schools has become a high-profile debate in France, which has enforced secularism as national policy. France is thought to have the largest Muslim and Jewish population in Europe, although its secularism laws prevent the government from collecting data on religious affiliation. While alternatives to pork have been offered across much of France since 1980s, far-right critics have argued that providing such options in the first place is pandering to the Jewish and Muslim minority and a slight against the country's national secularist character. Imagine that.
Okay, your last article here is like 2 long pages, so there's no way we're going to get it done. But
we'll save it.
We can save it. But it's interesting. It's got an interesting beginning, and I'm going to share just the beginning with you. And then we'll get after it on Wednesday. Forget the Pope. The only truly important dignitary visiting New York for the United Nations General Assembly this week is Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas. That's because Abbas, unlike most of his powerful peers, may actually hold the key to world peace. Hey, don't laugh. If the strong signals coming from the race office are to be believed, Abbas is likely to take the stage next Wednesday and declare the Oslo Accord is dead.
Boy, we got to get into that.
Yeah, we're going to be getting to that article for sure.
Amen.
So, anyway.
But meanwhile, rejoice with Israel and be sure and pray for God's loving protection of them during this critical time. He does watch over them with love and with jealousy, and
despite the fact that the Arabs are still rioting on the Temple Mount, it's like, you know what? I still wish I was there, because the spirit of joy, as I've told you before, is so present in Jerusalem, especially the Old City, that you feel like you can turn around. There it is. Wish you were here to eat cake with me and my mama.
Love you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.